Is Max Scherzer to the Giants completely done? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Stiles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing some Max Scherzer rumors. Could he still end up in the Bay? A profile on Will Bednar, who was a top prospect, top draft pick for the Giants, trying to make his way back into the fold. And last but not least, another game, another spring training report with the Giants continuing to be undefeated. All right, so I know I have talked before about we are moving into the actual gameplay and less about rumors. There's really only one more rumor floating around, and we're going to address it today. Don't worry, we have plenty of actual gameplay stuff to talk about. But the last rumor that's floating around is, what is Max Scherzer going to do? Of course, there's still some other names that are being floated, but the connection to Tony Vitello, this was something that was discussed early on, and we thought maybe Max Scherzer could find his way out to San Francisco. Not sure that's going to be the case. This is from The Athletic. Blue Jays Max Scherzer remain in constant contact about a potential reunion. This is from Mitch Bannon and Ken Rosenthal. While the Toronto Blue Jays have been in touch regularly with Max Scherzer's representatives throughout spring training, the future Hall of Fame right-hander's return is still not guaranteed, in part because of the ripple effects his addition would create across the pitching staff. Multiple league sources told The Athletic that the Blue Jays are open to re-signing the 41-year-old who was a key part of the team's clubhouse culture and 2025 World Series run. Sportsnet's Ben Nicholson-Smith reported on Friday that negotiations have gotten more serious in the last week. Bringing back Scherzer would be complicated, however. If he returns to the Jays, he would almost certainly need a guaranteed role, if not by opening day, then at some point in the near future. If the Jays don't suffer any more pitching injuries, they could have 8 starters for 5 spots once right-hander Shane Bieber is back and Scherzer is ready. After Toronto announced Bowden Francis will miss all of the 2026 season and Bieber will start the season on the injured list, it became clear the Jays could use more pitching depth. They have a good group to combine to make a solid starting 5, but the Jays really only have Eric Lauer as a rotation option behind those 5 guys to start the year. The Jays have some intriguing pitching prospects expected to begin the year in Double A. There are also some durability concerns as well, but it still seems unlikely Scherzer would sign up to be a spot starter or depth option. That is a huge deal. Okay, that is a huge deal because that's essentially what I feel like he would be with the Giants as well. So this is the first time we're basically hearing what Max Scherzer wants. So it's essentially being reported that he doesn't really want to be a spot starter. He wants to be one of the guys. He's not taking a minor league deal with an invite to camp either, with Justin Verlander signing a $13 million deal, likely setting Scherzer's market. Scherzer may require a significant contract. Money doesn't appear to be of particular concern to the Jays, who are already projected to be well over the highest collective bargaining tax threshold, but any added contracts would still result in significant tax penalties. Maybe the Jays have become aware of another pitching ailment that's motivating their increased interest in Scherzer. Maybe they're considering another move to open a clear path for Scherzer. The Jays did make Berrios available for trade this winter. Lauer recently told the Toronto Star it's a little frustrating to not have a rotation spot, and other teams could view him as a player worth giving up solid assets for. So basically, they're saying that they think that Scherzer could be better than Lauer and Berrios, or, based on how that money works too. With that being said, it sounds like Max Scherzer is looking for legit money. And if you recall, if you're remembering this, bringing it back to the Giants, who is getting $11 million a year? That's right, Adrian Hauser. So you would basically be paying Adrian Hauser money to Max Scherzer, and that's essentially what Justin Verlander got too. Justin Verlander actually got $13 million, but $11 million of that was deferred. So Yeah, this is a bit complicated. It seems like it's less about the money, but more about what role they can promise Max Scherzer. So to me, this is less about the Blue Jays and Max Scherzer as we bring it back to the Giants to basically have that conversation. Look, would you rather bring in Max Scherzer, who is looking at $11 million? That seems a little bit pricey for me. That is not what I think some of us envisioned when we heard about this feel-good story. Oh, Max Scherzer has a connection to Tony Vitello and they have this relationship. 11 mil, that's what you're paying your most highly touted offseason acquisition for the starting rotation in Adrian Hauser. Now, I don't know that Adrian Hauser is better than Max Scherzer. I think last season he pitched really well, and Max Scherzer obviously was dealing with injuries. But if you're bringing in Max Scherzer at 11 mil, you're moving Tyler Mahle to the bullpen, which maybe you want to do that. I think for the Blue Jays, it's more about the position and not about the money. I think for the Giants, it's more about the money and less about the position. So I don't think it's completely done. But this is the first time we're hearing what Max Scherzer is looking for. And to be honest with you, I think it's a bit more clear why Max Scherzer hasn't been signed yet. I mean, 37 years old. Obviously, he's had some injury stuff. That's what happens when we all get older, but he's still looking for $11 million, $13 million. I would say that I understand why he's looking at Justin Verlander, but Justin Verlander pretty much was available all season long. Now, was he the level that you might have wanted him to be at all season long? Maybe not, but he was available. And he's shown that he can pitch throughout the duration of a season. Max Scherzer didn't show that last season. So I don't know if I'm a team, if I can say, okay, yeah, you deserve to get Justin Verlander money, right? And we can do the comparison right here. Just looking at the amount of innings that one guy pitched versus the other. Justin Verlander, he threw. He was 4-11. He threw 152 innings. Okay, so he started 29 games. He threw 152 innings. Max Scherzer. I'm trying to remember here. Max Scherzer threw 85 innings. He was 5-5. He started in 17 games. So Justin Verlander started, 7, 8 more games, threw a lot more innings, 70 more innings. So I don't know if you're able to sit there and say, hey, I deserve Justin Verlander money. Now, as far as ERAs go, yeah, Max Scherzer was at a 5.19 ERA. And Justin Verlander was at a 3.85 ERA. So I'm not really sure why Max Scherzer deserves Justin Verlander money. I guess you could say, hey, get me in the ballpark, right? But if you're walking in saying, well, Justin Verlander, we're both 37. He got 13 mil. I deserve 13 mil. I don't know about that, Max Scherzer. Justin Verlander threw a lot more innings than you and had a better ERA, kind of by a lot. So, right now, maybe they're holding strong and maybe this could be a hit to the ego. But if the Blue Jays are willing to pay that, you're kind of wanting your cake and eat it too. If the Blue Jays are willing to pay that and you're not sure if you're going to be a starter or not, shouldn't that just be a good look that you're willing to get your money, even if the Blue Jays don't know whether you're going to start every 4 days or 5 days? I mean, what more are you looking for, Max Scherzer? And then on the other side, if you're the Giants or any other team that he's interested in, hey, well, we can't give you that type of money. We can give you, I don't know, 8 mil, 9 mil, but we can make sure that you're the fit starter. So that's a good situation for us because it would be a kind of a cheap starter situation. We can give you maybe 10 mil, something like that. What are you willing? And we can defer that. All the teams are going to do it. What do you think about that? No, well, I want this type of money. So I don't necessarily know what it is Max Scherzer wants. Maybe he is not completely sure what he wants, but I don't think it's completely done. If they aren't able to move someone, imagine that. We're sitting over here trying to figure out who the Giants rotation is. The Blue Jays could have 8 dudes for a 5-man rotation. The Blue Jays have too many guys, and they're willing to pay Max Scherzer, it sounds like, just to hang around and be a spot starter. but he wants a legitimate spot. He doesn't want to, I guess, hang around. And I understand, you're used to a certain way things have worked throughout your whole career, and now you're entering. It's the same in the NBA. If you've been a starter, remember when Carmelo Anthony had to come off the bench, and that was a big deal. Hey, well, I've never come off the bench before, and now you're asking me to come off the bench. I don't really know how I feel about that. Well, you could always retire. I mean, that's just what life is. You're not always going to get what you want. And again, Max Scherzer, you're not coming off a crazy year. He pitched well in the World Series, don't get me wrong, and that's the last time we saw him. But I don't know if he is in a position to make a ton of demands. But you never know. There's always somebody that's looking for a Hall of Famer and somebody that can solidify their rotation. Maybe it'll be the Giants and they move Tyler Mahle to the bullpen. Who knows? On the other side, let's talk about the Giants bullpen and somebody trying to make waves that once upon a time was a top prospect and top draft pick for the Giants. Will Bednar profile. Can he turn everything around? More Locked On Giants coming up. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidates stumble across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Next segment with you, and everyone loves a comeback story, and that's exactly what Will Bednar is trying to pull off for your San Francisco Giants. This is from Susan Slusser, former Giants first-rounder Will Bednar, a fun one to watch with a unicorn fastball. Will Bednar's road to the show hasn't been easy since the Giants drafted him 14th overall in 2021. Finally healthy, he's armed with electric stuff and his all-star brothers' advice. More than a week into San Francisco Giants spring training, Will Bednar is still walking around wide-eyed with a perma grin. After several years of injuries and frustration, the 2021 first-round pick is an invitee to big league camp, and this wasn't a because he's a name thing. Bednar at 25 deserved it. We're excited about him, President of Baseball Operations Buster Posey said. He came on strong in the second half of the season last year. He's a guy with a big arm who seems like he's kind of settling into that reliever role now, so he'll be a fun one to watch. Kyle Haynes, the Giants Director of Player Development, was the one who got to tell Bednar that he'd be in big league camp and was the first to see Bednar's exuberance over the news. Will might be even more appreciative now than if it had come easy, Haynes said. He has a new perspective. Watching from afar, but equally delighted, is Bednar's brother, David, the Yankees closer. I love it, David Bednar said by phone from the Yankees camp in Florida. Will wasn't himself for a long time because his body wasn't right. Now he's over that hump and he's able to put all that in the past. I'm incredibly proud of him for his resilience and all the work he's done. Despite development delayed by back issues plus persistent control concerns, Will Bednar is in the right place, and it might just be the right time too. He's well down the depth chart, even with a wide open competition for an unstated number of bullpen jobs and unlikely to win a spot. However, he's getting a look from the new big league pitching coaches. A good showing this spring could put Bednar on the short list if there is a need later in the year. If there's one position out there that you feel like someone can emerge out of nowhere and really jump up, it's relievers, especially right-handed relievers. So Bednar says this, obviously it's something that's there, but it's not something I can focus on, Bednar said. It's corny, but I've just got to come in and do my work every day, focus on what I can control. I'm going to try to stick as long as I can and prove that I belong. This was kind of tough, he said. Obviously, I came in expecting to just jump right in, but things don't only go to plan. I got hurt and was stuck for almost 2 full years. That certainly is not how I planned it to go. So great stuff there from Susan. That's pretty much the crux of it, just talking about who he could be for the San Francisco Giants. And he has had some time so far, right? They've played 3 games, and Will Bednar, he threw in not the first game. So I believe it was either the second game or yesterday. He threw in the second game, okay, and he did walk 2 guys, but he struck out 1, and he did get through the inning. He did not give up any hits. So again, that the walks, that's going to be an issue. That control is going to be a question mark for him. But just a great story. Those have been listening to this show and watching this show. Number one, thank you. And number two, you know how I talk about sports psychology a lot. To be somebody that was such a big name going into their career, and for it to just not really work the way that you hoped it would to start. He was drafted 14th overall in 2021 out of Mississippi State. He is 25 years old. He'll be 26 in June. So, that's not that ridiculous of a time frame, right? Obviously, when you get drafted like that, you think that you're going to pop immediately. His brother is doing his thing for the Yankees. So time when it comes to baseball, specifically pitchers and relief pitchers, is not really a real thing. I saw this skit a couple days ago about how time doesn't exist when you're on the golf course. You can do whatever you want on the golf course because time doesn't really exist. And that's kind of how it is for relief pitchers. As long as you figure it out before the age of, 33, you're going to have an opportunity because every team is always looking for pitching. So if Will Bednar is able to turn this thing around, he's in no way out of a position to find a role with the Giants, to find a role maybe with another team down the road if he builds up that value and the Giants want to flip him for something. So it's in no way, shape, or form done for Will Bednar. He might not necessarily end up being, the prospect or fulfilling his ceiling that everybody hoped that he once would be able to do. But a lot of guys end up like that. I knew a guy, he was drafted to the Yankees and he went top 10 rounds, out of high school. So he didn't go to college. He decided to take that opportunity and take the money. Who could blame him? Just could not figure out the control. And I don't think he got past AA. So there's so many stories like this. Now, yeah, being the first round, that's one thing. And we know that most guys that do get drafted in the first round at least get to the major leagues. They might not necessarily be, a 10-year veteran in the majors, but they get to the major leagues. But there's always exceptions to the rule in good ways and in bad ways. So we're hoping the best for Will Bednar, get that control under control and keep that fastball, pumping in there the way he's been pumping it. And we'll see what happens. That's all the Giants can do right now as they're just looking for whatever. And this is a good year for Will Bednar. It's not as if there's a solidified, we just talked about the Blue Jays. It's not as if there's some solidified bullpen that you're trying to go up against. There are a lot of guys in similar situations to Will Bednar. Now he's going to have to leapfrog some guys, but if you get hot and you figure some things out, they will put you out there. That's just what we've seen before. One more segment with you. Let's get to our spring training report. What happened in yesterday's win? And there is a sleeper pitcher out there that one of you reached out to me about. I will tell you who he is and how he could be an X factor for the Giants bullpen. More Locked On Giants coming up. Baseball is back, and you can lock in by joining the Everydayer Club, which gets you ad-free episodes and access to our group chat on Discord. For the next week or so, you can use code SPRING for a free month. Go to lockedonsfgiants.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes. One more segment with you. And look, I'm recording this around the same time I did yesterday. So the Giants are about to start their game in about 30 minutes or so. So as I'm recording this, the Giants are still undefeated. They are 3-0. If you listen to it a little bit later, maybe they won't be. Maybe they will be 4-0. Maybe they will no longer be undefeated. It just depends on what happens there. So what happened yesterday, another great game from the Giants. And I know a lot of these games aren't televised. You're trying to catch them on the radio. So there's a lot of box score watching. That's just the easiest way to figure out what's going on. And obviously that's not the easiest way to necessarily see the vibes of everything. But the Giants, they win yesterday. They beat the A's, and I guess they're just the Athletics now, even though they reside out here in Sacramento. They beat the A's. Some of the kind of notable performances: Luis Arias had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. I saw one was kind of a pop fly that dropped on in there. But hey, it's a line drive in the books. Jung-Hoo Lee got a knock, and he was a run. He went 1 for 3. Luis Matos had a run, or excuse me, an RBI, and he had a hit as well. Will Brennan had a hit, a run, and he walked as well. You have some of the other guys. Drew Gilbert got in there. He got a hit. Victor Robles got in there, and he had a hit. He had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. As far as the pitching is concerned, JT Brubaker didn't have a great start. Pitched 1 inning, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks. That's not good, JT. After that, everybody's just getting 1 inning. Gregory Santos gave up 2 hits and 2 walks, so we know he can really chuck it and throw that lightning, but can't be giving up walks and knocking guys. That is not a great combination. Who did have a good combination? Trevor McDonald. Again, he is a hot name from the end of last season. 2 strikeouts in the 1 inning that he pitched, no walks, so that's good on him. But there is a name that somebody told me, Alan, go check out this guy. And I'm sorry, I tried to go back and find the comment of who said it, but with all the videos that I'm putting out and all the comments, I could not find the name. So apologies to you. You know who you are. I should have took a screenshot, but I wasn't able to find who it was. Marques Johnson. Marques Johnson, people. Okay, so I had to do a deep dive on this guy. First of all, he was born in San Jose. So local guy, ended up going the junior college route and then transferred over to Long Beach. He was drafted by the Red Sox in the 11th round in 2022. He was traded to the Giants in 2023. Last season, he made it to Double-A. He started in High A and then was pulled up to Double-A. He is 25 years old. He'll be 26 in July. He's 6'2", got good size on him, and he's pitching pretty well right now. Obviously, it's still early, and, if you are a guy that's only in Double-A, most likely not going to make the squad, but he's showing some things, all right? Here is his scouting report when he initially was drafted to the Red Sox. Physical description: strong athletic build with minimal remaining projection. He was just a big dude at that time. That happens a lot with JUCO guys. It throws from a high 3/4 arm slot starting on the first base side of the rubber. Athletic delivery with some effort and deception. High leg kick, good arm extension. Arm comes through late and high and can be disruptive to hitters. A quick arm. His fastball, 93 to 96, tops out at 98, has a very high spin rate and intriguing characteristics. Command and control needs significant work. Potential average pitch that could be more improved control. Slider was 83 to 85. His changeup, 86 to 88. Career notes: transferred to Long Beach State from Riverside Community College, was set to participate in the 2022 Fall Performance Program that was canceled because of a hurricane. Struggled to start 2023, but had been performing much better prior to being traded to San Francisco on July 6th. Okay, or July 26th. That was back in 2023. Here is the summary. Potential minor league depth arm, has good velocity, but secondary pitches need a lot of work and struggles to consistently miss bats despite how hard he throws. Has some intriguing characteristics to work with, including good extension and a high spin rate fastball, but still on the raw side and more of a thrower right now. So that was a couple years ago. Right now, I know they have some, it's kind of a running scouting report, if you will, but a lot of that was based on when he initially was drafted, but they do mention the Giants as well. But somebody brought his name up to me, so I wanted to highlight him real quick because he had an opportunity to show some of his stuff, and in his outing, he did just that. He pitched 1 inning, 3 strikeouts, 3 sombreros. That's what he did in his outing. All right. Cody Del Vecchio, he also had 2 strikeouts, so good on him. Marques Johnson, though, Cody did give up 2 hits. Marques, no hits, just 3 Ks, and he was done for the day. Go grab a shower, kid. So great stuff from him. Obviously, we're going to continue to follow his career path. In Double A, he threw 31 innings. He had a 2.9 ERA. He was 1-2 for his record, but he did not start any games. He's just coming out of the bullpen. And before he got there, when he was in Eugene, he had a 2.08 ERA. And he threw in 17 games, 26 innings. So in total, in 2025, he threw 57 innings. Hopefully, he finds his way in Sacramento if he continues to ball out. And this is an opportunity, again, same with Will Bednar, to have a different group, have the big league group check you out and see what you can do. It's very, very similar to high school when you're trying out, and obviously you're probably not going to make varsity. They already got all their guys, all their outfielders, infielders, pitchers, whoever, but it gives them a look. So come playoff time, if they need a pinch runner or whoever it is or some pitching depth, hey, you might get called up as a sophomore, whatever the case is. So yeah, great stuff there. I apologize to who did shout that out. Be sure to hop in the comments when you watch this video. Say, Alan, it was me, so I can give you your just due, because this dude is nice. And I saw a couple other guys, I think it was SF Giant Futures on Instagram. He has Marques Johnson as a name to keep an eye on in 2026. Maybe not to make the majors, but to make that leap. Again, only 25, going to turn 26 in the summer. So we'll see what he does and how he evolves this upcoming season. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at _Styles Styles with an I, as well as the official Locked On Giants account. And if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Giants ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to Locked On sfgiants at supercast.com to join the club, and be sure to use promo code SPRING while you can. Got to do it this week to get that free month of the Everydayer Club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.